Now, does it concern you as well with everything that's happened, even beyond the politics of it? Because you're a worker, you are a member of parliament, you will retire.
Well, first of all, let me say good morning to my colleague panelists and all those listening to us this morning. Before I make my submission, I want to state that as a worker and a member of parliament representing a constituency who should be working in the interest of the people I represent in parliament, I am fully in support of any action that will make SSNIT more viable so that pensions of workers can be guaranteed. Anything that affects SSNIT and potentially affects the pensions of Ghanaian workers is something I wouldn't support. Secondly, let me also say that for TUC, even though they have their response to these ranging matters should have come earlier, because this process started far back in 2018. The decision by management of SSNIT and the board to sell these hotels did not start today. It started far back in 2018. But the voice of TUC has not been heard all this while until recently. But I must also add that from where I sit, I will commend TUC because across regimes, their position in terms of the sale of state assets has been the same. Under NDC, they have protested against the sale of some state assets. I remember Merchant Bank, which was wholly owned by SSNIT. When the NDC government wanted to sell it, TUC position was clear. And so for them, there is consistency in their argument. And so I don't have a problem there. Where I have a problem is my honorable colleague and his party.
What's your problem?
Their inconsistency in these matters. Because as a country, we make laws to govern the state, to govern our people. And we as members of parliament, we make the laws on behalf of the people. And so if we make a law that we think does not serve the interests of the people, then let's look at the laws. The procurement law that was passed by parliament, it's we members of parliament who passed it. And in transactions like this, the entity concerned will rely on the procurement law and other laws which permits or allows the sale of state property. So should it be the case that as a parliament or as a country, we should bar the sale of state property? Or if it is permitted, should we categorize who is qualified to buy and who is not qualified to buy? Those are very critical issues that we have to look at. Now, with reference to this particular case, I do not think that there is any evidence to demonstrate that the processes leading to where we are today have not been in conformity with the provisions of our laws. Because if a government agency intends to sell a state asset or their asset, they take a management decision that on the basis of 1, 2, 3, we think that we should dispose of this asset. That is the first step. It should be a management decision. But the management cannot proceed as required by law without taking it to the board for approval. So the management takes the decision and then they have to put it before the board. And the board will either accept it or reject it. Now, there is nothing to show that management didn't take the decision as required by the procurement law. There's nothing to show that. 2, there is nothing to show that management didn't put it before the board, which is also required by the law. And when they put it before the board, what does it? TUC says there are 4 representatives on the 12-member board didn't support it. But what it means is that majority of the board members supported it. And there is nothing unlawful in a board making a decision
and some of them disagreeing with the decision.
Well, there are 12 members of the
Yes.
board. And Elizabeth Ohene is the chair, the board chair.
I am saying.
And then you have Kofi Bosompem Osafo, who is the Director General now. Abner Asari, Ministry of Finance rep. And then also the President's nominee, Gloria Irene Amaki Paida, and the Company Secretary, Mrs. Gifty Annan, are all there. The President has 2 nominees there, Peter Osei Dua, and then also the rep of the SSNIT Pensioners Association, Benjamin Odote Esuma. So you are saying that to the extent that this went to the board, and
I'm not the one saying it. Is that not the law? That is the law. That when management makes a decision to sell a state asset, the management cannot go ahead to sell it without putting it before the board. And the board must either by consensus or majority decision approve or disapprove. So in this case, if majority of the board members approve the process, then it means that nothing illegal has been done. And so they have gone through the due process. And when they advertise the bid, which was advertised locally and internationally, which is also in conformity with the provisions of procurement law, I mean, that is a process. It was advertised for anybody across the globe to tender. And more than one person tendered. It was not the case that it was sole source. Or it was not the case that Rock City was the only company that tendered. Many more companies tendered, at least more than one. And then they went through an evaluation process. And through the evaluation process, they found Rock City to have the best bid technically and financially. There is nobody who has come to prove that out of those who tendered, there was a better bid than Rock City, but Rock City was still given the opportunity. There's nothing like that. So as far as I am concerned, there is nothing untoward legally. But we as a country, I have always considered that there are some state assets that we need to strategically protect. I have no problem with that. Because when you give to private hands, they are profit-oriented. But when the state is managing it, you get to a point where, I mean, the state will even come in to capitalize or to put in resources so that you can protect, for example, the numbers of people who are employed there. Because as a state, you also have a responsibility to create opportunities for people to get employment. A private person may not look at it that way. Mm-hmm. So I have no problem with that. But like I said, my problem is with the NDC. Look, and let me make reference to the record of the NDC in terms of similar situations. When Okudzeto was a deputy minister, the merchant bank sale.
But why would
I'm coming.
Why would you want to look at?
I have said that. No, I have told you my position with the TUC that I've been consistent. Have I not said that?
Indeed.
But the NDC has not been consistent. They have not been.
But I thought you I was just coming to a point.
Okay, let me.
Can I ask you a question?
You allow Okudzeto to no. I won't take it. You allow Okudzeto to flow. No, I won't take it.
You make your point.
You see, I have a problem with the composition of paneling.
Okay,
and even when we want to talk, if you don't want us to come here, let us know so that we don't come. No.
You make your point. You make your point.
You allow the guy to speak all what he wanted, and you keep. I don't think you are being fair. I mean, you bring a panel that is biased towards government. When you bring TUC, you should have brought Senate to also respond.
You make your
Senate
point.
is the one that made the decision. Why do you bring TUC, who has minority board members, and you didn't invite Senate?
You make your point.
I mean, be fair as a station.
So you are saying that to the extent that you agree that certain state assets should not be divested into private hands. It was on that point I was going to ask you a question. It's not about whether or not...
I just want you to allow me to make my full submission. Just like you allow my colleague to make his full submission.
I asked him questions, yes.
I am saying that as far as TUC is concerned, I will not on any day say anything bad about TUC's position today. Because they have been consistent and they have opposed the sale of their assets or assets they have interest across regimes, including NDC. But I'm saying the NDC have no moral. The way my brother Okujeto is speaking and pretending to be passionate and more Ghanaian and more interested in Ghana's progress than anybody. When he was deputy minister under President Mahama, the merchant bank that SSNIT had about 90% shares was offered to be sold. At the time, the former president brother, we all know, owed merchant bank millions of Ghana cedis. And when they advertised, which TUC protested against, they were offers. And a South African bank offered $91 million to buy 75%. And then Fortis, which was registered in 2013, offered $34.4 million for 90% shares. The NDC, Okujeto & Co., went ahead and sold Merchant Bank to Fortis, which offered $34.4 million as against $91 million by a South African bank. That was what they did.
And it went to court. By your logic, what did the court say? The court cleared it. Will you say, yes, today you are still protesting?
Yes, but when we
went to court.
So you are, all what Okujeto and all of you are speaking here is about morality. It's about morality.
I thought you were going
to allow me.
There's a cabinet minister under Mahama who bought Merchant Bank.
It doesn't matter who bought it.
I thought that's
it doesn't matter who bought it.
Gentlemen,
I thought that's where you were headed.
It doesn't matter who bought it. It doesn't matter who bought it.
I don't get this analogy.
You don't get it. I don't also get what you are saying.
I don't see any logic.
It is not for you to understand what I'm saying. I don't expect you to appreciate what I'm saying.
So that's the point you wanted to make.
Okay. I mean, but I just want to I think that you are not being fair to me. Look at the time. Look at the time you allow me to also speak.
Relax.
I have not made my point.
Yes.
After more than 20
No. I have not made my point.
Don't worry. You make your point.
You allow Sami to speak. I mean, people who pretend as if they love the country. Somebody offered you $91 million. You went for $34 million. Today, somebody has offered a better bid. Tell me who offered was better than Rock City.
Okay.
Who offered a bid better than Rock City? Then today you come and sit here and pretend.
It's okay.
They are profit making.
Okay.
So
I don't have problem with that lawyer.
Okay.
But these people don't have that moral right to be talking about it.
That's why one.
Even SSNIT built bungalows for MPs.
Okay.
They sold them.
All right.
They sold SSNIT bungalows.
That's why we need a third force.
TUC, I have no problem, but not Okujeto.
Okay.
Even when he came to parliament, the car loans. First time he came, he took a car loan. Second time he took one. Third one he was protesting.
Hold on.
I mean, what kind of judgment is that?
Okay. So
you should have protested from the beginning.
So are you done with your point? Are you done? Okay. So yes, you are done. Let me say that we reached out to, in fact, throughout the week, we've been reaching out to SSNIT. They have consistently giving us the information.
And it's not just TV3, but all the other media houses.
We've been, so you're
I'm aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
Hey.
We've been reaching out to SSNIT. So for Honorable Chinnia to say that SSNIT is not represented, and maybe I'll just provide you information because I would assume that you don't know, right? And I wouldn't begrudge you for not knowing. But let me tell you that throughout the week, we have been reaching out to SSNIT for an interview, at least even to be part of this panel today. They have referenced us to their statement. They said we should just go to their statement and deal with it.
I see.
So it is disingenuous, to say the least, that SSNIT is not represented here, and we didn't make the effort to have them represented.
I didn't say they didn't make the effort. I said they are not represented.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you.
So you don't go for that to say it's
so just let you know that we reach out to them.
You should not say I'm disingenuous. I am not.
They referred us to a statement.
I am not.
So I'm just letting you. At least now we're on the same page. I've given you all the information that you need. Now, the production team in the last 24 hours have reached out through several means to this same institution. And madam, you do confirm that you are aware that we are not the only ones that they are treating this way. So if SSNIT is making reference, in fact, they are directing us to the statement that they put out. The only thing we can do is to peruse the statement they've put out. We have no option. So that's just to put it on record. Now, Mr. Blackwell, and he has to leave us. So, but Honorable General, you've made your point.
Oh, but if he comes, I'll come.
Okay,
No
you've
problem.
made your point.
Good for good.
It's all right.